mention Paris, and the first thing that comes to mind is the Eiffel Tower. However, Paris has something else that is equally impressive and much older than Paris itself. This is the River Seine. Well, let's go find out where the water comes from. On the other side of that wall is the Seine. For now, I'm just going to follow it, which means I have to ride straight through the middle of Paris. Starting just north of Dijon, the Seine flows for over 800 kilometers all the way to Le Havre into the English Channel, with Paris more or less around the middle of it. The river was named after the Roman goddess Seine, which in French over time became shortened to just the Seine. Not only is the river used extensively for transport and tourism, but it also supplies over half of Paris's potable water. This big bridge on the right is where the River Seine and the Marne meet up. It seems this is as far as I can ride. I might have to walk the last little bit. Welcome to the confluence of the Marne and the Seine, continuing on from here as the Seine. To see if I can get onto that big bridge on the other side of the confluence quickly. Might be a nice view from there. Marne, river and the Seine. So my original idea was just to follow the Seine all the way, but because rivers don't flow in straight lines, it was never going to be that easy. Somewhere in those trees on the right is where the Seine is flowing now. As far as I can see, there are just these rivers and streams and canals flowing into the Seine all along the way. Well, there we go, proof that we are still in the right direction. This is the not so little town of Montereau, where the Seine and the Yonne rivers meet up. But there's a problem. This is the confluence of the Seine and the Yonne rivers. The Seine is divided into 5 parts. The first of which, from the source up to this point, is known as Le Petit Seine, or the Little Seine. On the 18th of February 1814, this was also the site of the Battle of Montereau, hence Napoleon's statue standing here. On this side is the Yonne River, clearly much bigger than the Seine. During the Middle Ages, the Yonne River was used extensively to transport wood to a very developing Paris. Right, time to move on. Wow, check out this huge old cathedral. I mentioned the problem earlier. Well, traditionally where 2 rivers meet, the new river carries the name of the bigger one of the original 2, in this case the Yonne. Except the French, being the French, liked the name Seine more and just decided to carry on with it. Because of the direction of the road that I'm taking, I have to follow the Yonne for a little bit before going back to the Seine. According to Google Maps, the Seine is flowing in those trees over there. This is Bagnoul-les-Jouffes, where I'm sleeping tonight. Alright, let's go find this place. Which way are we going? Not really sure. I think it's this way. I spent my night at a B&B close by, about 15 kilometers away from the source de Seine. It's a nice and brisk morning this morning. It was just too much for one day, so I thought I would sleep over and then try and see as much as possible this morning. Everywhere you go, you find these little towns, little communities, like 10 or 15 houses and a church. Quite amazing, very beautiful. Oh wow, you come over a hill and you see these wind generators, quite spectacular, supplying electricity to all of the little towns in the area. A few times now I've seen little signs on the side of the road that says source de Seine, this way. GPS says that way. Some of these roads crossing farmers' fields, so I think for safety's sake we'll stay off those, not want to annoy the local farmers. This one actually agrees with the GPS, source de Seine. Let's see if we can stop and take a photograph. Now, if this is confusing you, it's because this piece of land is so important to the existence of Paris that the mairie bought the land in 1864. Now, although there are a lot of rivers and springs that flow into the Seine, this one is considered to be the very first one, where it all begins, the source de la Seine. I don't think it comes fresher than this. Just in Paris alone, there are 37 bridges that cross the River Seine. However, this one is considered to be the very first bridge to cross the river. The dainty that is Seine, goddess of the River Seine. Also around here is an archaeological site where a Gallo-Roman building and a whole bunch of artifacts dating back more than 2,000 years was found. Now, I'm not sure if this is it because it's closed to the public, but the artifacts can be seen in a museum in Dijon, amongst which a 1.3 meter tall statue of Seine. Now, I wish I had a little bit of more time so I can go to Dijon, which is about 50 kilometers away, to go and see the statue of Seine and the other artifacts that were unearthed here.
Something I want to show you quickly. My wife gave me this little book that not only allows you to create the perfect bucket list trip, but it also allows you to keep note of the trips that you've done. Now, I'm about to complete my first trip, so time to fill it in.
All packed, ready to go home. But before I leave, I'd like to ask, please like and subscribe. It makes me feel better.